morning, everyone. Welcome to Toad TV. I am Mary Beth.
I am Helen.
And we are the creative hands and minds behind Toad Hollow.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, yes. It is a new year. It is a new us. It is a new you. We went to the dog park yesterday morning and saw a bazillion people running. It was like, it's the first of the year. We're all going to get your resolutions started off right. It was a gorgeous day.
It was an absolutely spectacular day. So it was a good day to, start off your resolutions on the right foot.
Right. Our resolution is to make our dogs as happy as possible. So we went to the dog park and fulfilled it. And that worked out very well. Because then we went to Petco. On a side note, we're starting the sale because somebody has to cover the Petco bill because it was exorbitant. We take our resolutions very seriously here. Okay. We hope you guys had a really good holiday and a happy new year. It was ups and downs, goods and bads for us. We had the nephews came out. Oh my God.
That's the good.
That's the good. That was so good. We had a really, really good time with them. That was really fun. Since Larry was up and the boys were up, we got to spend time with the boys and we got to play games with the boys. And Braden, the oldest, told his father that his favorite part about the whole trip was spending time with the aunts because he loves to spend time with us. And that just, from an 11-year-old boy, made my heart grow 7 times larger, which is really very, very nice. He's so sweet.
We got to play games. They got to come see Dudley because they all love cats, especially the youngest two. They had to go find the secret cat.
They kept calling him the secret cat.
We had a bowl of Christmas candy in the living room. So Declan, the youngest, just named that the candy room. His father's like, where did you get that? From the candy room. My father's like, there's a candy room.
And he was wearing a sweatshirt with a hood. He just would tuck them in the hood of his hoodie and go running along. And then he would put them in the refrigerator.
He had a cookie and all his candy, and it went into the freezer, which was the refrigerator.
My God, it was so much fun.
And then he would go visit them to make sure that nobody was touching them.
It was just the best time. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect. We got to spend time with them and that was so much fun. And they went into New York City the next day and that was part of their trip that they got to go into the city because Cullen, the middle one, wants to live in New York City at some point. And Helen and I gave them the older two point and shoot cameras to use in New York and they just had a ball.
Yeah. Braden's favorite thing of the day in New York was taking pictures. And his favorite thing of the trip was spending time with us, which was totally unsolicited. We weren't even in the room.
Right.
It was just really kind of nice.
But I was going to explain to them that it had a video component too, because you can shoot videos, because sometimes they do videos in YouTube and that kind of thing. And as I was about to start explaining it, Braden's like, oh, look, they have a video. And he's going through and he's doing the zoom and the going back and that kind of thing and deleting and all sorts of things. I'm like, I should just give it to you and you can explain it to me.
You don't need any help whatsoever.
None. They were simple point and shoot cameras made for kids, but they had lots of fun with them.
Yeah.
So that was good. Very, very happy about that. Now,
admin stuff. The sale. The annual Toad Hollow sale is starting on Wednesday at noon.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yes. So Wednesday the 4th of January?
Yes. Today's the 2nd.
Okay.
So Wednesday will be the 4th.
Okay. So January 4th, noon Eastern Standard Time. Most things will be on sale, a blanket sale. You won't have to do anything. Just put them in your cart and the discounts will already happen. We have an additional 5% code for podcast viewers, which I will insert here down below. So at checkout, you will put that in and that will take an additional 5% off your total. And Patreon
you will be getting, the Patreon members will be getting an email with an additional percentage off.
Right.
So that for our Patreon
it's a tiered level,
Right.
depending on which tier you're on as to which additional percentage you get off.
So check the Patreon page for that,
Right.
and you will see the message with that.
Only one will work. So patrons use the code we sent you, not the code below, because only one code will work. You can't use 2 codes at one time.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Okay. So yes, patrons, you're either getting 10 or 15% off depending on your tier. So if you are shopping, make sure you use that. Don't use the one
Right.
for the podcast.
Right.
Okay. All right.
We're clearing yarn and bags.
Yes.
So good sales.
Yes. Because we still have quite a bit of yarn left over.
Right.
So we're getting it out.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the reasons we are clearing yarn and bags with some really good discounts is because we had to make the decision that in 2023 we will not be doing any shows. We have to make decisions now to pay for things, and at this juncture we don't know how we can get to shows and do the shows and also make the inventory.
right.
Because as we said, we do not have a facility here to dye yarn. So we're still working through that all. And since decisions, especially for Maryland, have to be made
Now.
today, we had to just decide that that's not in the cards for us this year. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they will hold our place and we will be able to come back in 2024. But for right now, that's where we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So on that despondent note,
Well, it's not despondent. It's new. Everything is new, and we're figuring out how we're going forward.
but
It's kind of terrifying, but we'll figure it out.
yes, I was saying to somebody, we have a good ability to pivot.
Yeah.
So we are pivoting so much, turning like a dancer. Oh, it's the heat. It's that noise. No, I'm twirling like a dancer. Anyway, one of the things that we've been seeing all over the place is people looking back over the year and talking about their top moments of 2022. And since 2022 was pretty much a gut punch kind of year, we went back and
Dumpster fire.
we went back and looked, and there actually were quite a few highlights that we had some really good points too. So one of the things that I am very thankful for was I started doing my journal, because this let me go back and see all the good things that happened. Like we went to a Harry Potter exhibit in Philadelphia. You know what? It was a really nice day that we got to spend. So it's just, I kept track of books. I kept track of all sorts of things in here, daily things, monthly things. And it was really good to go back through it and look and say, oh, do you remember when that happened?
Right.
Do you remember that we did this? So it's a good thing to have. So I really am very, very happy that I did it. And sister number 3 gave us another one for Christmas. So this year I am doing Cinderella for mine.
She gave us 2 this year because I have Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella.
Yeah, I have Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty. So I'm starting with Cinderella and seeing how far I get with that.
I'm using mine for 2 different things. So
Yeah. All right. So shall we start?
yeah.
Okay. So I did my first one, which was my journal. Do you want to do your first one?
Sure. I started growing flowers.
That's right. You did.
And I had them in pots because of our sandy soil at the beach. But they gave me so much pleasure. And in particular, I had a very good friend who started them for us because they had to be seeded the first time our brother went in the hospital back in March. And she said, let me take that off your hands and I will seed them for you.
So we dropped everything in her driveway. And then 2 months later, we picked everything up in pots.
and then I potted them. And without her, it wouldn't have happened. But it just, oh my God.
Every time
I
she
looked
had
out
them
on the back porch.
along the back porch, and every time we looked out the window when we were washing dishes
Right.
or putting the dogs out or anything like that, it was just a mass of color and flowers.
I had zinnias, I had carnations,
Dahlias.
The dahlias were kind of a bust. I only got like 2 blooms off them. But I think that's probably
Sunflowers.
because they should have been in the ground, not
Right.
in a pot.
We had hummingbirds.
We
had bees.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was so beautiful.
And I had my herb plants.
Mm-hmm.
So that just really brought me so much joy.
It did.
So-
Every time we looked out, it was just, oh my God, look. And she would bring in little bouquets and put them around the house.
Yeah.
And it was every so often she'd be like, oh my God, you have to come see the color of this flower. And it was so pretty.
Yeah.
It really was. It went all the way around the deck and down the stairs, and it was perfect. Absolutely perfect. So thank you to Claire, and you did such a good job with them.
Yeah.
Also, we never had to worry about herbs. So we just went out and grabbed what we needed, and
Right.
it was wonderful.
Yeah.
We just have to do it up here. Okay. All right. My next one is summer of movies. This year we tried to do summer of blockbuster movies, and we were watching movies during the night. And in my journal, I kept a spreadsheet of our blockbuster movies. So there are some of the ones that we watched. I wrote down whether I liked it or not. There were some that were really, really good, like Paddington 1 and 2. There were some Beverly Hills Cop that did not hold up as well, that were actually kind of
Should have
cringeworthy.
stayed in the 80s.
Right. And there were just some things that should not have ever come out. But I continued it onto another page. So it was just, Ratatouille was so much fun.
Your Ratatouille is so good.
Oh, thank you. And Raya and the Last Dragon, we really loved that. There were a whole bunch that we just really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So this is really nice that I can go back and look at again and see. There was The Gray Man, where
What was that?
Chris Evans got to just revel in how awful he would be.
That was really very good.
Yeah, it was. So summer blockbuster new movies, and now we are doing rom-coms with my mom, and I will be putting those in my new journal. But
That is what one of my journals is going to be, is the entertainment journal.
last night we did Sweet Home Alabama, and man, does that hold up well.
Yeah.
We
Actually,
also,
the only dud we've done so far, and it wasn't a dud, it wasn't that good, was My Best Friend's Wedding.
yeah, My Best Friend's Wedding was not. Julia
She's
Roberts
a
is a
terrible
horrible
human
person.
being. In the movie. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what she is in real life.
But in the movie, she's really pretty
Right.
horrible. But we've done Sleepless in Seattle and While You Were Sleeping and I Love You to Death, which just... An American Dreamer, which is a really, really good movie. So we've done a bunch of them that
Yeah.
were lots and lots of fun.
So
One
I can't find.
one slightly disappointing one was Lady Hawk, and that is not the movie. The movie holds up so well, but it never got digitally remastered, so the version
Terrible.
was really kind of fuzzy. But the music and the movie itself, the story itself, hold up beautifully. So movies.
Yeah.
Having fun with movies.
Okay, so next is a big highlight. Our time with the nephews, they came up during the summer, and then they came up again, obviously, at the end of the year. And the time during the summer, the older two got to go off with their dad, and we were watching Declan, the youngest, and that's when he was screaming "Nope," and he and I were doing "Nope" back and forth, and we played
Exploding Kittens
with him and Taco Cat. So getting to spend time with them
Anytime that we can
is
with
so
them.
good.
Yeah.
So
It's just, unfortunately, it's way too far in between.
yeah,
But we do try and
FaceTime.
and send them down things and
Right.
that kind of thing. So I will say that Colin has gotten to, they get an envelope and does it have money in it?
When they were here for Christmas, we had them help us take out the trash.
That's right.
And Colin's first response was, "Do we get paid?" I'm like, "Yes, we will pay you. Just help us take out the garbage." And we gave them $20 each because we knew they were going into New York. And Braden is just like, Dad, that's like $5 a can. And we told them, we said, look, okay, there's one caveat. You have to spend on something totally ridiculous in New York. So Colin was so sweet. He bought because they went to see the Twin Towers Memorial. So he bought a replica of the Twin Towers, which I thought was so nice.
Yeah.
And then Braden bought a magnet and a snow globe because Mary Beth had suggested a New York snow globe. So.
Yeah, they're nice kids.
Yeah.
My brother's doing a really good job with them. My next thing is doing things with friends. We didn't get as much time to do things with friends as we would have liked this year, but we did get a chance to go out to dinner with friends a couple of times and have friends come down and play board games with us or help us set up for a trunk show and then do dinner and games. And anytime that we get to spend time with them is just so much. I mean, it just rejuvenates us.
Yeah.
So it's just, hopefully we're going to be able to make time this year, a little bit more time for spending some time with friends. But yeah, always a good time.
Yeah.
Okay, one more thing that I have is some social media things. I know social media is an absolute ban to some people. I spend way too much time on it. But there are times, and there have been times over the past couple of months, that even a bookworm like me cannot focus on reading at night, and having things that you can just scroll through to just decompress after the day is really good. And there are a couple of either Instagram or TikTok. Actually, they're on both these accounts, users, whatever. They're on both, and they just bring me joy every time I look at them. So there is the K. Wendy House, which is a woman and her husband, and she redecorates, and I caught on to her because she ordered, I think it's a Smeg refrigerator. She thought she was getting a small Smeg refrigerator, and she couldn't believe that she was getting it for such a great price. And then it came, and it was a dollhouse Smeg refrigerator. So then, rather than return it, she went in whole hog and got an entire kitchen set and a chef mouse and set up a little kitchen inside her kitchen with this mouse in his kitchen. She totally got me. But her house is beautiful, the way she decorates it, and she gives you tutorials on how she does like a picture wall and that kind of thing. It's just really relaxing for me to watch it, so I love that one. And then there were a couple. There's the Robin Davis Studios.
Oh my God.
She makes little robots out of dice, wooden dice and wooden pieces, and
old rusty tool, nuts and bolts and things.
She has one named Pocket, and she makes little vignettes with Pocket. It just is so beautiful. So Robin Davis Studios, if you don't follow her and you're on Instagram, go find her. Yeah. She's wonderful. She has an old-fashioned, I think it's a Steve elephant that's there. She's got a shrew that is named Crockett.
She has a hedgehog.
It's wonderful.
She has little antique doll furniture, and it's, yeah.
I mean, Pocket got sick and his friends came and brought him chicken soup, and it's just,
the time that she puts in to this account is just incredible.
It is.
I in awe of the time that all the people you're mentioning put into their social media. Just,
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful. So there's that one. There is India Rose Crawford is the one that makes
she's
the
on
frog
TikTok.
and toad.
Yeah.
And if you didn't see the little knitted frog and toad when they put up their Christmas tree, I cried. It's so beautiful. It was just so nice. I cried. And then I know we've mentioned them before, but there's the Novel Neighbor. They are a bookstore an indie bookstore out in St. Louis. And if you do not follow them, they have the greatest book talk or book Instagram accounts, because they will put up things and I pretty much buy everything that they suggest. They just had one where they were talking about favorite romantic comedies, and not only did I buy every single book that they talked about, I bought the first ones in the series of the 2 that were actually series. So I just watch their TikTok or their Instagram account and give them a credit card.
We are their ideal target audience because they put things up and we're like, yes, I will buy that.
Yes, I do think I would like that. And then you get a box of lovely books. Yeah. But they will, they are so creative. They will watch the Oscars and say, if you like this person's dress, read this book because it has, plants and thorns on it or something.
If your ideal vacation is to go to New York City, you're going to want these books. Right. If your ideal vacation is Paris, these books. So
it's amazing. Yeah. It's absolutely amazing. So if you don't follow the Novel Neighbor and you love reading books, it's a great one to follow. And you're supporting an indie bookstore.
Also, if just on a business standpoint, this is a very good small business to emulate as far as social media is concerned.
Oh my God, they're fantastic. Yeah. So,
because I know it works because they got me.
Oh God, yes.
So, getting to the best part. I think it's safe to say I probably would not have made it through the year completely mentally intact. I'm not even sure I did. Without my dogs and my cat. Period.
Yep.
They bring us so much joy. 2022 was the year of the Hugo. All the trials and tribulations that went into trying to train a Great Pyrenees puppy.
Helen sent me this thing. It was her amalgamation of some photos from the past year. And it wound up with Hugo as a puppy sitting on the beach. And he was so small.
And I was going back through the year, and it was, in January. January 6th was a great banner day because it was a no accident day. January 5th was a trial with Hugo.
February 6th was 4 accidents between 5:30 and 8 p.m.
Right. But it's all red with a smile. Hugo got to go to school.
Oh, yeah.
It was he's my bud. And
I have one
I adore Drusilla. She's the OG. But Hugo's my bud.
Oh my God, is he? I have that we came back from the Adirondacks Festival and we got home at 10:30 at night, and he came and just wrapped his arms around our waist and hugged us. Right. He literally hugged us. And then Drusilla was so excited that she forgot to go to the bathroom when we went for the nightly walk, and we had to get up at 4:30 in the morning to take her out because she had to go to the bathroom. But it was just, these guys.
They're with us 24/7, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
No,
I mean, they are one of the trials in figuring out whether we can do shows this year or not, because figuring out what to do with them and that kind of thing, and it's okay. It's a trade-off I will make over and over and over again.
I will also say that the comfort that they have given my mother, and all of us,
and Dudley, it's just made my mother so very happy.
You'll hear her
has come in and taken over her house.
You'll hear her. She's like, "Oh, Dudley, fancy meeting you here."
He lives on the kitchen table.
Or the bathroom.
Any other house.
The bath mat.
Right. Where the owner would be so ecstatic to have a cat living on their kitchen table.
We are. Yeah. We all are. And he rules the house.
Yeah.
And it's okay. He's very good for us. But yes, they all have. Drew is hers. She thinks. It's not true. But she gets so much pleasure. Yeah, she gets so much pleasure.
Because she comes down in the morning and Drew goes running to her with her tail wagging.
Yeah, it's been very, very good.
Yeah.
The other thing that has kept us sane is having 2 of us.
Yeah.
Because honestly, without the other,
insane as hell.
That or prison. I would have run screaming from the place. Just putting it out there. Having someone to talk to, having someone to vent to, having someone to laugh with, having just someone who understands you
brain, yeah.
and completely gets you. This is what Helen gave me for Christmas. Don't know whether I'm going to be able to get him back far enough. He is a goose. He has a different outfit for every month of the year. He was a Christmas tree for Christmas, and he is now a snowman. And I have all his outfits that he gets to change into. So he is wonderful, and I absolutely love him.
He's probably about 2 feet tall.
And he's
indoor, outdoor. We have chosen to have him inside.
But yeah, like-minded.
Yeah.
He's perfect.
I'm going to insert a video of what Mary Beth gave me. And I just love it so much. And there's another piece that we have to put together. It's going to add another little vignette in our place. So
right.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Insert video here.
Yeah. This is part of my gift from Mary Beth. She gave me this little vignette that I put together in a bookcase. So I've got the mice. They have their little armchairs. I mean, look at that. They have a lamp in their sitting room. They have a fireplace. And Mary Beth knit them little stockings to hang by the fireplace. And then, here's the best part. So the lamp lights and the fireplace flickers. And it's just perfect. And it's in this glass fronted bookcase in my mom's house. We have old books of my dad's. I mean, that is James Joyce. And then my little vignette. Just love it.
Okay. And also, one of the things that has kept us going is you guys, because all the comments and the nice things. Somebody, Anne-Marie, just sent us 3 of the Shady Hollow books, which we've been looking forward to reading. And you guys keeping us in your mind is just been so nice. So we wanted to say thank you so much to every one of you who has watched us, who follows us on Instagram, who has come and met us at shows and that kind of thing. Thank you guys so much.
This would not be, Toad Hollow would not be without you guys.
Right.
I mean, doing the podcast and social media and everything, without you guys following us, it just wouldn't happen.
Right.
So, and you've all been very nice while we've just kind of receded into ourselves for a couple weeks, and thank you.
Yes. And to all the patrons who reach out to us, we made an announcement there, and to everybody who reached out to us, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You guys are so understanding, and we really appreciate it. Okay, so we promised you a recap of books.
And that was one of the books is one of the highlights too. We just saved it to the end because we wanted to recap our favorite books of the year.
Right, so we are now going into books. Cue the book music. All right, shall we do stats first?
Sure.
Okay. Let me pulling out my stats here.
You did much more in-depth stats than I did. I didn't get into the genres. But...
Okay. Oh, I didn't do the genres.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, I did just the different types.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I read 92 books last year. My goal was to read 70, and I read 92, so I'm good. My goal this year is to read 100.
My goal was 60. I read 54. I'm going up to 100 this year.
Okay.
I do a lot of Audible. We're doing a lot more walking without our yard and everything. So driving back and forth to get our stuff and things. So yeah, I probably won't hit it, but that's my goal for the year is 100.
Okay. All right. Out of those 92 books, 42 of them were physical books. So 43% were physical, 37 were Audible, that's 40%, and 13 were Kindle. So
I was completely opposite. 30 were Audible, 19 were books, and 5 Kindle.
okay. I had, out of that 92 books, I had 15 5-star books, 33 4-star books, 35 3-star books, 8 2-star books, and a couple of 1-star books, which are my DNFs.
I am surprised. I only had 2 DNFs for the year. I did not break down my 4, 3, and 2s. So I had 2 1-stars. That's, to me, a 1-star is I didn't finish. I had 1 1.5 star because it was just such a dreadful book. We will get to that later. But I had also 15 5-stars.
Okay. All right.
And I know they're not the same because I read some that you didn't read and you read some that I didn't read. So.
Right. Okay.
And I read 20,537 pages.
I read 32,000, I think it was. Again, I'm going to my journal because I kept track of this. 32,717. There's my monthly stats. I did 3 different book challenges this past year. Out of them, I fulfilled most of them. There were like 2 or 3 on each one that I didn't get to.
I did A to Z and I filled in most. Nine out of 26, so I really didn't fill in most at all. 2/3.
Okay.
I would have thought I'd fill in more of those. I did the Goodwill Librarian. I'd say probably 2/3 of that one as well. Another one that maybe I got half done. But I'm okay because I don't like to read.
Oh, I do
I'm
not
going
read
to read to a challenge, but
Right.
I like to have them to see where my books fit in as far as a challenge is concerned. Will I, fit all of that in?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So, of my 5-star books, I also had quite a few that were 4.5 to 4 3/4 stars that were really good, just didn't quite make it over the 5-star read. And some of them, like the Priory of the Orange Tree and the Sea of Tranquility, were really, really, really good books. Legends and Lattes, that was another really good book that just didn't quite make it.
to me, the Sea of Tranquility made it to my 5 stars. But Legends and Lattes did not. I was reading Legends and Lattes during COVID, so that may have hit me better if I had read it during COVID time.
Yeah.
Just took me a while to get through it. It was a good 4-star read to me. I loved the book, but okay. So I had my 5-star reads were like I had a little glut at the beginning of the year, and then most of them came at the end of the year.
Yeah, I had a lot at the end of the year.
But the first book I read of the year was Lily and the Octopus by Stephen Rowley. Total 5-star read. Never will read it again.
I haven't read that one yet. I still have to read that one.
It's a wonderful book. It's all about loss of a pet and just going back to the highlight of my year. The wonderful book.
Yeah. Okay. The Heartstopper Quartet. I think there are 4 of them. Anyway, for me, Heartstopper 2 was like the perfect book. Absolutely perfect. These are graphic novels, and they did a series for Netflix that I loved as well. I thought these books were so good. It's about boys in England and figuring out their sexuality and that kind of thing. And I thought it was really, really, really well done. And as I said, for me, Heartstopper 2 was the best one. So I loved that one. And it was a graphic novel that I don't normally do graphic novels, but I went through those. I read them in about an hour.
Yeah.
You just breeze right through them. I loved them. Okay.
Okay, then I have How High We Go in the Dark That was a totally different book from anything I've read before.
Oh, yeah.
The timeline was wacko. It was, as you're reading it, you're just kind of, what am I reading?
And then all of a sudden
And
at the
you're going
end, it's
from chapter
kind
to
of...
chapter, like, am I reading the same book?
Right.
But then at the end, it all just kind of magically
Made sense.
and meshes together.
And I love the way they ended it.
Right. So yeah, just totally different experience reading for me.
It was. That one didn't make it to 5 stars for me, but I loved it. I thought it was really, really good.
Okay.
It was not quite the 5-star rating. The Guncle by Stephen Rowley.
I also have that.
Yes. This is about a man, Patrick. He is the gay uncle to 2 young children who lose their mother, who was also his best friend at college. And she then married his brother. His brother is addicted to pain medication and is checking himself into rehab so that he can get better for the kids. And he wants Patrick to watch over them. And Patrick really does not want to, but takes it on anyway. And it's how...
has no idea how to.
Right, and it's how they all kind of work together and learn together. And it was beautiful. It was really, really, really well done.
Stephen Rowley is my only repeat author on my 5 stars, but
Yeah.
because he's the Lily and the Octopus, so I got to go through the grief of losing a pet and the grief of losing a best friend, sibling.
Yeah.
Thank God we read it before.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the Guncle is gone. You read this last year, The Heart's Invisible Furies. That was just a wonderful book.
It is.
It's just nice people, not so nice people, and just
Growing up in the 50s in Ireland and then
being
coming
gay
forward and
just really, that's a really good book.
that was the one I was driving home from New Jersey Sheep and Wool, not last year, or not this past year, 2021. I was driving home and sobbing. Absolutely sobbing.
No.
It's a good one. It's a very, very good one. Okay. I listened to Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. We like almost all her books very, very much, so this is no surprise. I thought this was very, very well done. I did not like the narrator. The narrator bothered me, but not so much that I didn't give the book itself a 5-star rating, because the story I thought was fantastic. And it also allowed me to fill in on my book challenges that I read something about sports.
I also have that on my list. She didn't bother me as much as you. I got acclimated to her much faster than you did. I just thought I love her different uses of writing styles.
It's never just a straightforward narrative.
Right. There's never just a narrative. There's podcast episodes or blog posts or in this case Sports Center
interviews
inserts.
and things like
and that kind of thing.
And commentary.
Right.
And newspaper articles. There are almost always newspaper articles in there.
And I was fascinated by the tennis of it. And
so Carrie Soto is a tennis player who has held the world record for the most Grand Slam wins, both men and women. And now that she is now 37, and there's an upstart young player who is about to break her record, and she decides to come back to
when
prevent...
she ties her record, yeah.
Yeah, when the younger player ties her record, she decides to come back and see if she can't take the record back.
And her father is her coach. Her father, the character of her father is so good.
The Jaguar.
Yeah, it was really good book.
It is. It's a very, very good book. She is not a terribly nice person.
No.
She's not a terribly likable person. But
she gets there in the end, though.
Yeah, and you understand the drive.
Yeah.
And, the just sheer competitiveness which we are both highly competitive, not in sports, but in games and that kind of thing, so that we can understand that a little bit. But yeah, no, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocum. This is about a young violin player who is gifted a violin from his grandmother. It was a violin her grandfather played when he was a slave on a plantation. It turns out when he gets it cleaned up and everything, it's actually a Stradivarius. He is a prodigy and is on a competition, and the violin disappears, is stolen. So it's him trying to get on through the competition without his violin, and also finding out where the violin is. It's just a really, really good book. So I enjoyed it a lot.
I have to read that. I haven't read yet, so I am looking forward to doing that. I just finished reading The Secret Life of Albert Entwistle, which is about a postman in England. He is coming up on his 65th birthday, and he is told that there is a compulsory retirement at 65, and his entire life is being a postman. He doesn't have a family. He lives by himself with his cat, and he has a hidden past that he's trying to keep hidden, and things start spilling out, and he realizes that maybe he wants to be more than a postman, and it's his way of dealing with his past and learning to live in the future. And it just, the people are wonderful. It's by Matt Cain, and it was a wonderful book to read.
All right, I think the last one I have on here where we're not going back, we're not both on the list, is Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. That was one of my last of the year. Again, a very different book from what I would ever pick up. I would never have picked this up on my own. It was recommended on a book podcast that we listened to. There's a Faustian deal with, again, violence. There are aliens. It's just, the premise sounds wacko. There's a young transgender character, and her finding her way. It's a wonderful book. Wonderful, wonderful book. It's just, it teaches, there's so many underlying parable type things in it. Being perfect isn't always what people want. The perfect product, it's more the person who made the product,
right,
with all of their little human mistakes kind of thing. And just, yeah, really, really enjoyed it.
Okay. I had The Extraordinaries by T.J. Klune, which you have not read.
Right.
This was just, it's such a good book. It really is. It's got really quirky characters. There's superheroes. Some of the characters are superheroes, and there's one that really wants to be a superhero, and he's not, and it bothers him. So he makes up the fan fiction. He writes fan fiction about one of the superheroes, and the superhero doesn't turn out to be the superhero that he thinks that they are, and it's just, he's a teenager. He's dealing with hormones. He's dealing with a whole bunch of things. But it's so much fun. It really is. I really, really enjoyed it. So I really, really like that one. So that was one of the ones that I enjoyed this past year. I gave that 5 stars.
Okay. My list is now Mary Beth's list. So next up is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. This is just a wonderful book with wonderful characters, found family.
3 young witches trying to figure out how to be witches.
The witch who's teaching them how to be witches, trying to figure out how to be a witch among witches.
Oh my God, it's so good.
And then the side characters are just...
Yeah, everybody needs Jamie in their life.
Yes.
And Ian and everything.
Right,
it's just, they're wonderful, wonderful characters. So I loved that book so much. I really, really loved that.
That book is just like a hug.
Yes. And we listened to it on Audible, and the narrator was fantastic.
Yes. Yeah.
Really, really good. Also listened to on Audible is Remarkably Bright Creatures, which is a book about a 70-year-old woman who cleans the aquarium, and an octopus
At the end of
named
his life,
Marcellus, and
he's cranky.
Michael Urie does the voice of Marcellus, and it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's just so well done.
Yeah.
And the interaction between these two and the other people that are the peripheral characters, but oh my God. There's so much in this book that just tugs on your heartstrings, and it's wonderful. It's
And again,
absolutely wonderful.
A different book, probably a book I might not have picked up on my own. So
Yeah, no, just really, really, really good. Loved it.
and then slightly same theme, West with Giraffes, just because animals. That's set in the Dust Bowl era, and trying to move giraffes from New York to San Diego. They come in on a cruise ship, and then they have to be driven across the country. And the perils of that. It's just such a good book.
It is. Again, done on Audible. Beautifully done.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good. Such a good book. Oh my God. And then Helen found a book that we just got very, very recently. This is Big Panda and Tiny Dragon.
This was my last book of the year because I read it on December 31st.
This is kind of like The Boy, the Horse, and the Fox. Is that it? The Boy, the Fox, and the Horse, or something like that.
Don't forget
And the Mole. That was out a couple of years ago, but this is just the illustrations.
So the journey of a tiny dragon and a panda through the seasons. They get lost. It's steeped in Buddhist thought. The drawings are just
I adore the dragon.
so lovely, and mistakes mean you're trying. Don't give up. I want to change the world, said Tiny Dragon. Start with the next person who needs your help, replied Big Panda.
There are things where sometimes it's good to head out with no idea of where you're going.
Yeah.
They just mean so much.
Each season is completely different, said Big Panda, yet each has its wonders. Just like us, said Tiny Dragon with a grin. And we're making a snowman.
There was one point where he's saying that it's the shortest day of the year, and Big Panda said, but that means it's the longest night, and they're looking up at the stars. I mean,
interspersed throughout are different
it's right here. I think it's the next page.
uses for a leaf. Number 111 is a sled. And just interspersed throughout are different uses for leaves.
It was perfect for us at the time it came, and there are things that we read it, and I was looking at Helen and saying, "We are the river,"
Right.
And it hit us perfectly.
You're quiet today, said Tiny Dragon. Big Panda smiled. I don't think I can improve on the sound of the rain. This is a book. It's a very giftable book. Everybody needs it. They need to pick it up every once in a while. It's the kind of thing where you just open it up, almost like a tarot or something like that, where you just get your thought for the day.
Right.
Just beautiful.
Yeah, it actually that's really good that you could just open it up, and it's not a story that goes from page to page. It's
Right.
just little thoughts, so that you open it up and look at that page, and that's your thought for the day.
Right.
You know, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So we both really, really enjoyed that.
When Mavis said we're the river. Hurry, squeaked Tiny Dragon. There is so much to do. The river doesn't hurry, said Big Panda, yet despite many obstacles, it always gets where it's going. Thought for the day.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is Nettle and Bone. This one has stuck with me. I really enjoyed this book so very much. It is a story about a woman who's trying to save her sister, and she has to go through all these different almost quests to do it, and she picks up companions along the way, including a bone dog and
a demon that's a rooster.
It's so good.
Right.
It's so good. It has just really stuck with me. So that is Nettle and Bone. Again, we listened to it on Audible, and I thought it was so well done. Really well done. Okay.
All right, we're down to my final two.
Okay, so
my final two was a slight struggle to be which was my favorite book of the year. But the one that won out, it's a perfect book.
It is.
So Lessons in Chemistry fell short just a little bit.
A tiny bit.
Because 630 is a very strong
Oh my God.
argument for best book of the year. I just loved that book. I loved everything about it. I loved how fierce she was in her convictions and who she wanted to be in a time that in history that would not allow her to be who she wanted to be, and she just went ahead and did it anyway. We all need a little bit of Elizabeth in our
God, yes.
And we all need a 630. I have two of them. So
yeah, no, that is such a good book. A really good book. That one had me crying and laughing and cheering,
mad
and rage,
like throwing the book across the room, rage
like you would not believe.
Which is why it didn't win, because what won just made me happy from page one on.
Okay, so if you followed us at all during the year, you know that we both read The House on the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune back near the beginning of the year. I read it in February, and I think you read it in January. And it hit us like a ton of bricks. And top book of the year for both of us.
And T.J. Klune was my top book last year.
Yep.
And right below, I think one of us picked Under the Whispering Door and the other one picked...
Creature of Extraordinary Circumstance.
Right. So, T.J. Klune's adult books are just, to me...
Oh my God, this book.
Hands down.
There is a social worker for creatures of magical abilities, and he takes his job very seriously. His name is Albert, and he is very dry and buttoned up and stodgy, and he goes to work every day, and they decide to
follows the rules to the letter,
send him to a house where they are keeping 6 children. Troublesome children, but not troublesome as they cause trouble, more that they will not fit into the world quite the way everybody else does.
Their potential for disaster is huge, and they want to make sure that they are being
cared for properly. But also the person who is behind sending Albert out there has a beef with the person who runs the house. And so it just...
If you haven't read it, just go read it. And I wouldn't say much more about the kids, because you've got to...
You have to experience
Let it wash
it
over
and
you
not
and just
have anything ruined for
preconceived
you.
notions other than
Right.
Mary Beth and I gushing about this book for 365 days.
Yeah.
So
We both loved it.
yeah.
I will go back and read that again if I can find it because we loaned it to my mother and I have to go find it.
I may get it on Audible.
Okay.
Do it on Audible.
It's a wonderful, wonderful book. Yeah. So one of the things that I did this year, and I will do, or I did last year, and I will do again this year, is I have my brackets for my books of the year, and each month I picked my favorite book. And I picked randomly. I didn't have January against February. I just picked randomly. So it turned out that February was against November and March was against October, that kind of thing. And it came down to, it would have been Lessons in Chemistry and The House of the Cerulean Sea. However, they both happened to fall in the same bracket going into the final two. So I wound up with the Cerulean Sea and Nettle and Bone as my final two, and the House of the Cerulean Sea won. But I had some really, really, really good books this year.
Yeah.
Really good books that I enjoyed.
Very good reading mood.
Yeah, a lot. And then I had some that were really bad.
Should we do our one bad?
Yeah, go ahead.
Each pick our bad. Is it the same?
No, it is not the same. Okay. I am going to go with...
I have two.
Okay, my choice is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. I made it through 290 pages of that book. And it was such a slog. I got so mad at it. It's just a badly written book. And finally I gave up. There are 400 pages in it. I made it almost 3/4 of the way through and I could not make myself finish it because it's just really badly written. So it's one of my few DNFs this year and yeah, no, not for me. I know that's for some people, not for me. So for those of you that do not follow this kind of thing, DNF means did not finish. And I did not finish that one.
One thing I do in my book journal is I write synopses of the books. My longest synopsis was The House on the Cerulean Sea. I have quotes from it, just how it made me feel, the whole thing. It's a good page and a half. My second longest one was the worst book I may have ever read in my life. That's not true. That's not true. I'm very mad about this book. Because it is so well loved.
Well, not only so well loved,
to talk, and
it also has the potential of being a great story.
A great story.
It's a great idea.
And it's just everybody. I kept seeing it all over Book Talk.
I love this book. 5 million bazillion stores.
It's just the best book ever written. And
this is a picture of my husband reading the last page. And his mouth is wide open and everything, and he's just in absolute shock of the last page. And
it's Verity by Colleen Hoover.
It's a terrible book. This is one of the books that you throw across the room.
I mean, it's just... I have... The start of it, this book made me very, very angry. And it's just... And one of the reasons is because it shares the same page in my book journal as Lessons in Chemistry.
You have this wonderful book and this horrible book at the same time.
This drivel shouldn't even be in the same house with 630.
Oh my God.
On the surface, it's a good plot that gets ruined by way too much sex, plot twists, and plot holes that ruin it.
The plot holes are
just like... The plot holes are just, I mean... I have them. It made me so mad. And it's just that I read it, that I gave it so much time of my life. And also that she is so revered. And it's just, I mean, she needs an editor.
Oh my God. The other thing is this great twist this horrific twist that you're never going to believe
ruins the whole book.
Stupid.
I mean, it ruined the whole plot. It ruined the book. And I didn't read the book. The book was bad anyway.
But no,
And
but
I
she.
mean, it was one of those things where I'm reading it and I'm like, why am I wasting my life reading this terrible, terrible book? I'm sorry to anybody who this. We all get to have our opinions. So
We have actually had people
it,
come and say that they didn't like the Night Circus,
right?
And we haven't sent hitmen after them. So it's.
I mean, it's the wonderful thing about the world. We all get to have our opinions,
right?
So I'm not. It may sound like I'm denigrating anybody who loves it. It's just not for me. Also, one of the what self-respecting woman writes this bullshit? I mean, because part of it is it's just so wrapped up in him, and it's just
yeah.
Then the honorable mention for bad book was Love on the Brain by Allie Hazelwood, because I loved The Love Hypothesis, which was her first book. I read it at the beginning of the year. She came out with Love on the Brain, and it is a case of, oh my God, we have the surprise hit. You've got to give us another book. So what did she do? She took the exact same plot. She moved states and a different science. Other than that, it's the same book. And it's just so lazy.
Yeah.
Wait, come up with an original plot. You're a good writer. You write strong women.
Yeah.
Just, don't rush it out. Because now, if you had waited and put out a good book, I would continue to read you. Now I will not. So that was my honorable mention.
Okay.
Otherwise, other than the DNFs, I had a really good book here.
Yeah, I had
3s, 4s, 5s.
I had a couple of 2s, not too many. I had a couple that were just, they're meh. And I had a lot of 4, 4.5.
Yeah.
4 3/4. I mean, I had a lot in the 4s. So those are good, strong books.
We keep track of the books that we read on Goodreads and Storygraph. So if you would like to follow us on either of those, since we did not mention all the books we read this year, they're all there. I am Helen HG69.
I am Mary Beth 494.
I'm pretty sure that's me on Storygraph. If it's different, I will put it below. I will also list all the books that we talked about in the show notes down below on YouTube, so that you can see them and make notes.
Yeah. I'm trying to see. I'm pretty, yes, I'm Mary Beth 494.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I kept myself as Helen HD69 on both.
I read both of the home edit books, which I gave 5 stars because they inspired me and that kind of thing. And I did not include them in my overall 5 stars because they were more how to self-help type of things. Not
Still
so much.
count.
They do, but they didn't fit in with everything else that we were doing. So.
Well, I mean, he didn't either. Yeah.
No, to me, that's more, that's
us.
That's
Okay.
us. Okay. All right. I think that just about does it. This is well over an hour, so lucky you guys.
Yeah.
You get us for that much time. There was The Siren. That was a good book.
Oh, you made that 5 stars?
No, 4.5.
Yeah.
That was a really good book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, there's some good books there. All right.
But part of the problem is that the books that I read close after, like for the first 3 or 4 months after The House on the Sugar Lane Sea, there was a very high bar for 5 stars.
Yes.
And
that actually followed me through the year.
That you're going to run into your 10-star books, and you can't hold it against the 5-star books.
So then do you have 5-star reads and then there's the 6-star? I mean, what do you do? Or 5-star plus?
But it's not, because then I think, then you're like, is this the one? And I think it just has to happen organically, that there's just the one book that's just so fabulous.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Okay. Well, we hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. We have just given you tons and tons of things to go find and read.
We are getting back to work this week.
Yep.
We just took off the week between Christmas and New Year's. That's a week that just doesn't exist, as far as I'm concerned.
Basically, yes.
And so we're going to try and get back on to our
social
medias, more regular podcasts. Next time we will show you what we've been working on, because I actually made something.
Yeah.
And I've made progress on other things. So that's what we will do, is a crafty update
Yes.
at the end of the week.
Okay.
So, recap. Sale. Big thing.
Starting Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time.
Right. It will go indefinitely. We haven't put an end to it in our minds yet. So, but there are limited quantities of certain things. So if there was something you were looking for. So, sale. Podcast viewers get the additional 5% off. Patreon, you will get your codes for your additional percentages off. And have a great week.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Go forth and create.
Hopefully we will see you on Friday.
Bye.
Bye.